protect the public. Make sure he stays inside for the rest of his life.
Hello, welcome to our RecapPlus channel with me, Matthew. Today we will watch a recap movie called Start Up, released in 2013. This is a spoiler content video. So please turn on the subtitle and let's start the story. The movie opens with a young man named Eric Love, aged 19, being started up from juvenile prison to a high-security adult prison due to his age and a history of violent behavior. His father, Neville Love, is serving a life sentence in the same high-security adult prison where Eric is now held. After undergoing standard procedures upon entering the maximum security jail, Eric faces stringent inspections before being led to his cell by a security officer. It is his first experience in an adult facility, and he appears to be grappling with frustration. Feeling threatened, Eric decides to fashion a weapon from available items for self-protection. He conceals the weapon behind the lightbox in his cell to avoid detection by guards, emphasizing the lack of guarantee for his safety in any jail setting. As Eric waits for lunch, he engages in cleaning and simple exercises. A dispute arises with another inmate while standing in line for lunch. Yago, responsible for meal delivery at the facility, witnesses the situation. After collecting his lunch rations, Eric returns to his room, continuing his routine. The narrative highlights the low representation of women in senior management in the country, stating it's only 3%. Later, Eric joins fellow convicts elsewhere on the jail grounds, where he contacts his long-lost father, Neville, receiving advice to behave and adhere to the rules for a swift exit. However, Eric appears to disregard his father's counsel and returns to his cell. Shortly after, a fellow inmate named McDonald visits Eric. Mistaking McDonald's intentions, Eric violently beats him. Realizing McDonald posed no threat, Eric rushes him to the emergency hospital. Guards promptly detect the assault, taking swift measures to protect Eric from further danger. Due to the challenging nature of dealing with the strong and resistant young Eric, Oliver, a volunteer prison therapist, intervenes, urging officers to transfer Eric to solitary confinement immediately. Oliver successfully convinces the warden and other officials at the jail to allow Eric to participate in regular therapy sessions at the facility. After obtaining authorization, Oliver contacts Eric and encourages him to join the therapy session. The authorities then explain the rules Eric must follow during the therapy session, emphasizing that any violation will result in immediate expulsion from Oliver's therapy group, with no chance to attend counseling again. Neville, the right-hand man of the mafia lord and prison administrator, Dennis, takes steps to seek protection for his son Eric. Dennis, who runs the prison, is willing to protect Eric as long as he doesn't cause trouble with other inmates or guards and adheres to all jail restrictions. Neville personally visits Eric when he is incarcerated. He pleads with his son to learn to behave, obey jail rules, and ensure his release. Neville warns Eric about the consequences, mentioning that if he gets into trouble, the warden may order the guards to kill him, disguising it as a suicide to avoid suspicion from the prison council. Neville emphasizes the importance of avoiding trouble, especially with the guards. Eric assures his father that he will maintain his composure and follow instructions, even though he has expressed a desire to go to jail just to see his dad behind bars. However, Eric is saying this to Neville to halt the conversation. Despite his assurances, Eric makes the mistake of entering Yago's open detention cell. Yago, aware of Eric's whereabouts, becomes enraged after Eric steals his lighter and plays a practical joke on McDonald by giving him the item. This leads Yago to search the quarters of other inmates to locate his missing lighter. The next time Eric attends Oliver's therapy session, he causes more problems, leading the guards to take him back to the holding cell where he was originally held. Despite his young age, Eric's emotions are unstable, a consequence of growing up without a father figure due to Neville's incarceration. Oliver understands Eric's struggles, acknowledging the confusion and conflicts that often arise with other inmates. To address the challenges Eric faces, Oliver urges participants in his therapy sessions to watch out for Eric and protect him from other inmates and staff. Hassan, a black prisoner and member of Oliver's circle of friends, intervenes to rescue Eric after Oliver's plea. 3 other inmates, bribed by Yago, had intended to harm Eric, but Hassan prevents Eric from retaliating and warns him of the consequences. Eric, on the verge of striking back, follows Hassan's instructions and starts cleaning up after himself. After this incident, Eric routinely attends Oliver's therapy sessions and forms friendships with other convicts participating in counseling, mostly individuals with violent pasts seeking rehabilitation. The meetings often devolve into heated exchanges, but Oliver uses these moments to help participants understand their anger. Neville becomes irritated by Eric's fraternization with black convicts, particularly when he starts attending Oliver's therapy sessions and befriends them. Neville clarifies that he asked Eric to join Oliver's therapy sessions to regulate his emotions, not to forge friendships with black convicts. When Eric tries to express his sentiments to Neville, he senses his father's discomfort, believing Neville has a romantic connection with his cellmate, Ashley. The next day, Oliver is seen visiting Eric in his jail cell, attempting to build a closer connection with the young man. Oliver and Eric briefly discuss their separate pasts and lifestyles before heading to the counseling room to join others for a therapy session. Despite the bustle and disagreement, Oliver manages to overcome it and encourages group members to suppress their anger and emotions for the jail officials to enable the therapy session. Over time, Eric becomes increasingly acquainted with Oliver's group members, often exercising with them. One day, Eric is assaulted again while having a shower by other convicts. However, he retaliates and compels them to reveal that Yago had sent them. Enraged, Eric uses his handmade weapon to stun Yago, learning about the prison's structure that places ultimate authority in the hands of Dennis, the criminal leader and prisoner, rather than the warden. Dennis starts mentoring Eric, recognizing his potential, and Neville intervenes when Eric attempts to attack Dennis due to a misunderstanding. Dennis instructs Yago to stop bothering Eric, emphasizing that he is Neville's son. Following this, Dennis invites Neville to join him, attempting to get Eric to join as well, but Eric shows no interest in Dennis's offer. Eric is gradually changing for the better, participating more attentively in therapy sessions, gaining self-control, and becoming more receptive to others. He seems calmer and more at ease when conversing with Oliver and his group mates, smiling and engaging with them. One day, while watching Eric's improvement during a therapy session, Neville storms into the room, attempting to aggravate Eric by recounting one of his most humiliating moments. In response to a joke made by one of the group members, Eric gets enraged. Oliver and another group member, Tyrone, attempt to calm Eric down, but Tyrone also struggles with controlling his emotions, leading to fights among the group members. Unable to stop the escalating situation, Oliver witnesses the disturbance being noticed by Mrs. Cardew, one of the prison's highest-ranking administrators. She informs Oliver that Eric will be booted out of the therapy session for breaching the agreement. Despite Oliver's attempts to persuade her to reconsider, Mrs. Cardew remains adamant about her decision. Following the uproar, Oliver seems to struggle with controlling his rage and attempts to strike the warden. Meanwhile, Eric is furious and upset with his father for interrupting his therapy session and releases his rage by striking him. Neville does not fight back, allowing his son to beat him up until Eric is satisfied, believing his father sees him as a loser and lets him win since he does not fight back. The struggle leads to both Eric and Neville being apprehended and placed in solitary prison. When Dennis attempts to mediate between them, Eric continues to confront his father and strikes him. In response, Dennis orders the warden to kill Eric after he assaulted and belittled him while in solitary confinement. Escaping from solitary prison, Neville goes to Dennis to apologize for his son's actions and urges Dennis to assure Eric's safety. Dennis lies to Neville about protecting Eric, claiming he already considers Eric a member of his own family, emphasizing the importance of family defending one another. While Neville expresses his refusal to accept his son's death, prison officers in the basement beat him and begin to hang Eric to make it look like a suicide. Dennis attempts to murder Neville, but Neville overcomes him and stabilizes him. He rushes down to the basement to rescue his son, who the guards are preparing to hang. Before saving his son, Neville must battle and incapacitate the wardens. He defeats the guards in time to rescue Eric, but the warden reports the event to the jail board as an attempted suicide. Eric is upset and sobs when he realizes his father is attempting to rescue him, unaware of his father's love and the protective intent behind Neville's actions. As Eric recovers in the hospital, members of his therapy group visit, offering support and encouragement. Soon after, Eric returns to his detention cell and is contacted by a jail warden requesting him to accompany him. It is revealed that Neville would be transported to another jail that day due to his actions in rescuing his son. The guards grant the father and son an emotional moment before parting ways. The movie's message emphasizes not spending one's youth on impulsive choices leading to unhappiness. Instead, the suggestion is to use youth to accomplish things that bring personal and collective happiness. The final messages include the importance of not injuring others, especially parents, recognizing that parents care about their children's well-being and hope to spare them from similar hardships. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.